What's up, guys? Welcome back. I am AverageKiwiGuy, and today I thought I'd do a bit of an E3 wrap up, my overall impressions of all the conferences, just quick breakdowns of them all, the games that I'm psyched for, the games I was disappointed in, and just my overall impression and feeling of E3 as it was. It's pretty much done. It is in its final days, but everything that was going to be announced has been announced, so I feel pretty comfortable doing a bit of a wrap-up, mainly around the conferences, because that's the main sort of thing for me for E3 is the conferences and what they bring out and how they show it, and it's a bit of a show, really, for the gaming world, and I enjoy it. I love seeing it. It's a highlight of my year for a bit. And hopefully one day I'll get to see it in person. I'd love to go over and see it, but I have heard bad things about it. It's a bit cringeworthy sometimes, which is EA. It's E3. It's E3. That's cringe is synonymous with E3, and I am fully prepared for that. One day, cross my fingers, but right. So basically, I'm gonna break down as I saw each thing, just very briefly, just brief things on it. Just to tell you like my overall impression of each one, and what I took out of it, and what I thought they could have improved on. So EA was up first. For me, this was my worst conference that I'd seen by a fair while, fair mile. I mean. Basically, the overall impression was they had a lack of games this year. They had a big lack of games. It was Titanfall 2, Battlefield 1, and the sports games. Madden and FIFA. That's it. That was it. All this stuff is in the pipeline. It's coming. I was extremely disappointed with the conference, but I am very hopeful for the next 4 years. I think, and maybe next E3, maybe even the following one, I think will be a good year for EA. I think EA will pull it out because they'll be dropping Mass Effect, they'll be dropping some new Star Wars games, probably another Battlefield, or Battlefront, whatever they were at that year. I think they're going to alternate years on that. But this year was just, oh my god. They had too much concept art and dev ideas, and the devs going like, "Oh man, this is what we're thinking, this is what we're doing." Rah 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 rah. Studio owners saying how excited they are for the project. Too many studio tours. It seemed like they were just trying to fluff out their conference more. Like they were going between the London one, and then they were going to the LA one, and they go back and forth, and it was just extending out the conference to make it seem bigger. And that was a bit of a disappointment for me. It was also like Mass Effect, which is probably one of my disappointments of E3. Yes, they gave us. If you're a Mass Effect fan, you saw some very pivotal things in that trailer. You saw the Mako, you saw the new Normandy. Now it's the Tempest. You saw some planets. You saw some characters, and you saw kind of this big arc ship, and it looked fantastic. And they explained that it's in a brand new galaxy, and there's going to be new races and things. I get that, but it showed no gameplay. It didn't explain really anything that much. It was all idea stuff. It was all just drawings and stuff. I wasn't happy with it. I think it was really poor. I think BioWare was really a no-show this E3. They were a no-show. They showed up for that very brief point between the sports games, and then in the Star Wars part, they were like, "Yeah, this is Old Republic." It's like, "Yeah, we know you're doing Old Republic. You've been doing Old Republic for years now. Why don't you get up and show people what you used to do?" BioWare used to be the best Star Wars developer ever. KOTOR 3, Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast, all of them. BioWare made them. They really cemented Star Wars games in the genre. They changed my view on gaming KOTOR changed my view on gaming. I used to be all about the explosions and shit. KOTOR changed that for me, man. It showed me everything. I was like, racing games and blowing shit up. That changed it. That made me want to see a story in my games. It wanted me to see deeper into games. And that's what I want BioWare to get back to. That's what I want them to get back to. I know they're doing Mass Effect, but they're not the only... They're a very large company, and I'm sure they can start doing a Star Wars game. I just want to see something. Honestly, I just want KOTOR 3, but I want to see something out of them. Hopefully once Mass Effect is well underway, like it's almost done, they'll pick up a Star Wars, hopefully. And then, yeah, all the other Star Wars stuff was a big disappointment for me. And honestly, I was just really disappointed. Just overall, EA was just a big disappointment. They had too much sports. I do understand that it was their two biggest franchises. That's their biggest source of money. Fair enough. I know you're going to put that in. It's good for investors. It's good for the majority of your fans. Because that's vast majority love the sports games, man. FIFA and Madden are their two biggest sellers in their history of the company. FIFA makes more money than them than probably any other game. Probably all the other games put together, FIFA makes for them. So they're never going to get rid of that. I understand that. But it was just like 20 minutes of that and then like 15 minutes of Madden with the esports stuff for it. So, I don't know. Like I said, I was disappointed, but I'm very hopeful for the next few years. I really am. I think they'll be okay. It is EA, so they're never in trouble. But I just think it was... They had nothing for this year, so they threw stuff together to pad it out. And yeah, I mean, developers are going to have down years. They're going to have down years, so fair enough. Then Bethesda hit. That was probably my second to last conference. I know a lot of people loved it. For me, a lot wasn't really... a lot of it wasn't really that interesting to me. Probably bar Dishonored and Prey. Maybe Quake, but other than that, a lot of it wasn't really that interesting to me. If they bring out a new Elder Scrolls, then I'll be interested. But after that, really nothing much. They are very into rebooting their IPs now. They did it to Wolfenstein. They've done it to Doom. Now they're doing it to Quake and Prey. Also, they did Fallout as well. So that just rebooting their major IPs that they let kind of sizzle down and die for a bit. Now they're bringing them back. Fair enough. Everyone loves them. Everyone wants it. I think they may have a bit of an issue with Quake. I don't know if people are going to take to that like they used to. I don't think major Quake, like the old school Quake players, really liked what they saw. Like everyone I know who's a Quake player, they did not like that trailer, man. They didn't like parts of it. They were very skeptical on it. And they're like, but they have powers and abilities, and it looks like they're gonna be like tanks and assassins and stuff. That's not what Quake is. Quake is all about skill, and the player is the defining factor in their character. And the gun, not abilities. I'm afraid they're gonna Overwatch it. I am. I'm very afraid they're gonna Overwatch it. Otherwise, it was a standard conference. It's a standard Bethesda conference. They've got the same guy comes out, does a spiel, then he sends it to the developers, then he comes back out, sends the next one. It was a fine one. I think because they had such a good one last year, I think a lot of people were expecting more out of them. But what are you gonna do, right? They can't do it all the time. They had a surprise in the middle with Prey. That looks very cool. Obviously, we need to see more, but it looked fantastic. Very interested in that one. Looks very, very, a bit scary, but it's probably, I think, around like Dead Space kind of level scary. So, we'll see. We'll see on that one. And obviously, there are the worries with Quake. And then they showed Dishonored 2, and they showed a lot of Dishonored 2. And now, I'm the type of person that I don't mind seeing lots of a game. I really don't. But there were parts of that where I don't think they should have showed us it. I think they should have waited, especially the time travel part. I think they should have waited. Just, let us experience it. Let us be a surprise in the game. That looked like it was a major part of that level, and they just showed it off. And it was like, but I kind of wanted to discover that on my own, or on a stream, and have fun with it. But you already showed us it. But I was happy with the gameplay with them. I was happy with how much I saw of Emily's abilities and things like that, and the verticality and the fighting. I was very happy with the gameplay part. I just don't think they needed to do so much. But I do think they were kind of padding out that last part of their conference, so they wanted to stretch out as much as they could with Dishonored 2. Otherwise, yeah, that was probably my 5th best run. I wasn't overly impressed, but it was still fun. I had no issues with them. I wasn't disappointed. I just wasn't really that impressed. There were high points, but Maris was like, yeah, meh. It was all good. So really, like, the first day was just, nah. I think the highlight for me was watching the EA Battlefield 1 and just seeing Snoop Dogg it was just smoking. Just smoking right there, man. He's just smoking his weed, having fun. Him and Wiz Khalifa just going nuts. Zac Efron looking so serious playing a game. It was crazy as shit. EA must have spent millions on that. Millions to get those guys there. Fuck, man. That was insane. Obviously, the YouTubers were just being there to show up. They probably wouldn't even got paid. But like, they're probably like, oh, here's a free copy of it. But those celebrities, man, they would have costed a lot. That was probably my highlight of that day. That was hilarious to watch. Just Snoop Dogg going backwards and forwards in a trench. And just seeing some of the stuff, it was hilarious. Then day, 0, I guess you would call it. Microsoft was up first. And honestly, I think they had a really good conference this year. I was very impressed with Microsoft. Obviously, it was very traditional. It was very much what Microsoft does. They don't change it up. But I was happy with that, man. I was very content with what they did. I think they showed a lot of games. I think they showed a lot of good games. And also they did a lot of cross-platform stuff. Between Xbox and Windows 10, nearly every one of those games was for Windows 10 as well. And I'm like, yes! I'm a PC gamer. I want all my games on PC. I want to use my mouse and keyboard. And then I want to have that choice of using a controller. And for it to come to Windows 10 and also be free if I want to go and download it on my Xbox One as well, that is fantastic. That was spot on from Microsoft. That was perfect. And I think it's gonna open more people to buy their games. And some people, they just don't want to go and buy an Xbox One. But they have a PC at home with Windows 10 on it. I think it was a brilliant idea. And thank God they realized that they were actually, you are a PC software company, right? You're like the leading PC software OS company. You can make stuff for PC. So thank God they finally recognized that. I think they showed a lot of good games. I think they showed a lot of good gameplay, but it was not good quality gameplay. Examples are Scalebound. The guy they were focusing on didn't really do jack shit in the fight. It was boring looking. There were more exciting things happening around him than him just sitting there picking with a bow. It was bad. It looked bad. It's a Platinum game, and it looked boring. And Platinum games should never be boring. It should always be exciting. It should have a lot of flair, because that's Platinum. Like, Metal Gear Rising is amazing. Revengeance. It is such a good game. If you haven't played that, go and play it, because it is so good. And the music is so good. And I know everyone's like, oh, it's a douchey main character. I don't care if it's got great fighting, a pretty good story, and it's got amazing music. I am down, man. I'm still psyched for that game. I've been psyched since I first saw the first trailers and stuff. I'm all about the dragons and things like that. That'd be awesome. And I have confidence in Platinum because they make great games. But that gameplay demonstration was boring as shit. It was boring. The character they were following didn't do anything really to add to it. Add to the gameplay. And also Final Fantasy 15, their gameplay was shocking. That boss fight was not a good way to show off their combat. It was all about just mashing buttons when they were supposed to. And he didn't even do that. He kept on getting knocked down and he kept getting nearly killed. And I know they probably got God mode on, but it was poor. And it looked bad. And it didn't show the game off very well. And it kind of it hit me a little bit where my excitement for Final Fantasy 15. And also the Sea of Thieves. I think it showed good gameplay, but with the false false YouTuber stuff over the top was just stupid. It was stupid. They should have just showed us some cool gameplay. It's all they needed to do. They didn't need some idiots up in the top corner going, I am playing the game. I'm steering the ship. You're leaving me behind. It was stupid. It was stupid. Everyone's not PewDiePie. We don't need someone screaming on the screen all the time. But yeah. Otherwise, I was just happy they showed a lot of gameplay, and they did. Apart from when they keep spanning out over the freaking audience, but other than that, it was good. And then they dropped Scorpio at the end, and I think this is kind of an important thing, because this is the first time we're going to have a console halfway in a generation. So we got two different consoles in the same generation of games. So they're games that are going to be developed for both platforms. And now that means they're going to have to add in a way of either adjusting the quality, so adding an options menu with graphics and everything, just like PC has. They can adjust to suit your specific rig, so your specific console. So say you're not got a Scorpio, you got the standard Xbox, so you turn it down a bit, or just to be able to adjust everything just like a PCs can. Or they're going to have like a Scorpio mode and a Xbox One mode. And I think it's going to make console gamers think in terms of what they want in performance and what they want in the quality of their games and their consoles. Like, now they've got a choice between, do I want this console who gives me 720p 30, or do I want a better console that can give me 1080p 60, hopefully, I doubt it will, but 1080p 60, and they'll see the difference. And I think that's going to drive the console market. Like, they're not going to just settle for crappy gameplay, like crappy game, like, I guess, not mechanics, the actual structure of the game, the resolution, the frame rate, the graphics themselves, the lack of the motion blurring. If they have a choice over what they have, and they have a choice on what they can adjust, it's gonna bring console gaming forward. And I think that's a good thing for everything. I mean, us PC gamers, we're sitting here going like, dude, we got this shit. We've had this ever since, we've always been here. But it's good to see. And I think the addition of the Neo on the PCs, PlayStation side is going to add to that fire. And hopefully console gamers are going to think about it. They're going to start looking at their games similar to what PC gamers do and go, man, I wish this looked better. Oh, wait, now I have an option for that. Potentially that it's going to add to it. And it's just the intrigue of having this half-generation console is going to be something that I think will either drive the console games and the console wars between the two, or whatever you want to call it, or it's going to potentially crash it, where people go, nah, I don't want to buy this half one. I don't care what my thing looks like, and it bombs. But I think people are going to want it. Especially if you need to buy it for VR, which I do have a problem with, because PS4 can do it, but obviously The Xbox One can't. It is a bit weaker. And I don't think it was made for that, where I think PS4 was made intentionally for that. I think they had this planned. But yeah, overall though, Microsoft, I think they had probably the second best. I actually really enjoyed the Microsoft one. They had some cringeworthy stuff. Obviously, the gameplay issue that I had with it, but the games were good. I actually like the music on some of them. I've like went and found some of them because I enjoyed the Recall one, and even the one at the end. I just think they need to look at, like, you don't want pre-rehearsed stuff, but you want good gameplay, or pick levels which will promote good gameplay. So hopefully they'll do that. And also they had games that are coming out this year. And that's very important because there were some that did not have that. They did not have that. They didn't have games that were coming out this year. Microsoft did. A lot of Microsoft stuff is coming out this year. Recall comes out in September. You know, who else? What else is there? They had a lot of stuff that is coming out this year. We Happy Few comes out. I know it's early access, but it comes out in June and in July. And they had a lot of stuff, like a lot of indie stuff. They really seemed like they had a good group of stuff, and I think it was a nice, decently long conference. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. It was a good start to the day. It was a very good start to the day. Then PC gaming came up. This is probably my fourth favorite. It was interesting to me because I never saw the one last year because I think I was sleeping. Because I was working that night, so I had to like watch, sleep. But the PC gaming one was really interesting to me because it had an interesting format. They went with more the late night interview type show sort of thing. And it was great to see, for me as a PC gamer, PC related games and the smaller devs showing off those games. And I really liked it. And there were some games that came out of that I'm actually really psyched for. And games that I didn't know were coming. Like, they were one, like, I think it's like Dual Universe or Dual Galaxies, which is pretty much like Space Engineers meets No Man's Sky. And it's a very ambitious one, but it was cool to see. And there were a lot of other small, even like games that are already out, but they were showing mods and stuff. It was very cool. And I think it's good to see PC gaming getting a slot and saying, yeah, we're going to make the most of this. The only issue I have with them is that they need to make sure they stay in their time slot. They overran into Ubisoft's one. So for those of us who are watching it on /Twitch, Twitch had to switch over to Ubisoft, and I wanted to switch over to Ubisoft. And I think they lost a lot of their viewership. And apparently they had some really good stuff afterwards too. Some stuff that, you know, people missed out on because they went to see Ubisoft. They need to make sure that they keep it in between this slot. That was a good slot for them between Microsoft and Ubisoft. They just need to make sure they stay in that slot. And I think that will add to it. Also, there's some cringy like product placement ads and stuff. But it was sponsored by AMD and Razer. And they had some really cringy parts. But you got to do that. You know, when someone's paying for you to do this stuff, you kind of got to sell out a little bit. It's fair enough. Then, yeah, this is the second year going. It's only going to get better. And I think it should stay. Day 9 was fantastic. I think he's a great host for it. They had a lot of different games, a lot of different types of games. They even had like Halo Warzone. They had Lawbreakers. They had Dawn of War 3, Ark. Just so many different games. It was fantastic. It was very good. And they weren't all just big stuff. There was some guys that are like brand new, making their first game, and they were showing it off. It was great. It was very good. If you haven't seen it, go see it. I'm sure it's around somewhere. PC gaming was great. It was great. It was my fourth favorite one. Then Ubisoft come up. The wild child of E3, I'm calling them. Just like crazy dancing at the start. Aisha Taylor just going nuts, dropping F-bombs, dick jokes, and also insulting the people that hired her. It was great. And they just had fun through the whole entire thing. It seemed like a very entertaining conference, and I loved it. The only issue is I can see people being rubbed the wrong way with it. I really can. It was there, like it was interesting to watch it. Like I watched it with some people, and they really liked it. But then I talked to some other guys, and they were like, "Man, that chick was annoying. I didn't really like it. It just seemed too try hardy." And I can see that. I really can. They had some good game. They had a lot of good gameplay, good quality gameplay. They had a lot of interesting games that I'm interested in. They had the usuals, like they got the Divisions, and they had the Watch Dogs stuff, and they had the Assassin's Creed movie. But that's what you get with Ubisoft. You get that. But they did the VR stuff, and it was very interesting. I had fun watching Ubisoft, and I think that was the key. They want you to have fun when watching it. The only issue is with a lot of these trailers and a lot of this gameplay stuff, you have to take it with a pinch of salt because Ubisoft still needs to earn back our trust. They have dicked us over too many times with downgrades and the game not coming out the way it should be, and they need to earn back their trust. It's like Watch Dogs. I am not psyched for Watch Dogs. I am very hesitant on it. So hopefully that it'll be good and it'll be fine, but they need to earn back our trust. They've broken it too many times. And it doesn't matter how fun your conference is, people will remember when they saw that game and it doesn't look like this. And they'll come back to bite them. And then obviously the crown jewel of the entire E3, the one that pretty much everyone is saying won the conferences if you can win E3, was Sony. Now Sony, they did a very new way this year. They did a very new way. It was a very fast, a lot of limited amount of talking. I think it's only about 10 minutes worth of talking. 10 minutes! They'll spit through the entire thing. And they even announced all the stuff for the PlayStation VR. They announced all the stuff for it, like when it was coming out and the price of it and all the rest of it. They just said, yeah, here's PlayStation VR. It's going to cost this much and it's coming out this time. And it's got 50 games. Alright, cool. Now we're going to show you some more games. It was just bam, 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 bam. And then they had the orchestra around doing all the music for the trailers. It was a very confident, very like I'm leading this like console war, I guess you call it. I'm the leader in this whole sort of gaming sector. Probably they're the only ones that could have done it. If Microsoft did this, they think they're being lazy. If Ubisoft did this, it would take away from who they are. I don't think anyone else could have done this. People would just say they were lazy, if Bethesda or EA did it. Sony was the only ones who could do it because they've kind of earned the right by how much they've worked for the past couple of years on earning the trust of gamers, I guess, in a way. And they just brought out this, everyone was just having like this hype for this thing. Like everyone was going nuts every time each game come out, and it just keep hitting you and hitting you and hitting you. And there was never a game where you're like, oh, this game, ugh. It was like either like, oh shit, what is this? Oh my god, it's that. You had that with Star Wars when it was the VR stuff. You're like, holy shit, it's going to be an X-Wing. And it was like, oh, it's a mission for Battlefront. But it still felt cool. And even like Call of Duty. Call of Duty for me was one of the highlights of that one. It looked amazing. It looked so much fun because it wasn't like normal Call of Duty. But the game looks like fun. And they kept pumping it up. And it was really good. And like, yes, they did some fan service stuff with Crash Bandicoot. And then, the Kojima stuff. It was like, but it was still hype, and everyone was feeding off of that, and they had a huge crowd, and it was an amazing arena, and they had a really cool looking stage that wasn't overly done, and they didn't keep panning out to the crowd all the time. It was great, and they headed off with a bam, and you just kept going, and it was done. It was done in like an hour and a bit. It was very fast, very good. But by doing that, they hid something very vital, and I don't think many people noticed it. There are no games, apart from the VR stuff, that are coming out this year for them. It's either going to be sort of mid next year or late next year, a lot of those games. For the Death Stranding, that ain't coming out for like 2-3 years, man. That game, I think, is going to be a long-term project for them. They're just getting rolling. I think they put that together pretty quick, but I don't think that's coming out anytime soon. But I mean, I'd rather them take a long time on that game and make it great. But yeah, no games coming out this year. But Microsoft had that. Microsoft's got a lot of games coming out this year. They have Forza coming out this year. They got Recore coming out this year. We Happy Few. They've got a lot of stuff coming out. You know, stuff that you can go and buy. This stuff, this ain't coming out till next year. Like mid next year and even later. So, I think, yeah, they kind of hoodwinked us a little bit. But it was still it was great to watch. If you haven't seen it, go and see it. If you got any interest in Sony games like God of War and even like Batman, Star Wars, just Spider-Man, there's so much stuff in there. Go and see it if you haven't. It's great. It's just great to see it, to feel the hype for it. And yeah, it was a great conference. It was a great conference from them. So they were my best. But yeah, they weren't perfect. And they had a lot of stuff under the hype, and I think it was good. So yeah, so now I'm going to talk about like the games that I'm excited for, games that I'll definitely be buying, and we'll be streaming as well. Depends on how well they stream, but definitely stuff like there's even stuff that like wasn't even shown, but was released over E3 that I'm actually really excited about. So really, like probably the number one for me through this entire thing was South Park. South Park, The Fractured Butthole was just so good. The way they announced it was so good. The trailers were great. And I love Stick of Truth. Stick of Truth was fantastic. I'm actually going to start replaying it on stream probably next week. I had so much fun with that one. For Honor looked amazing. It looked like a beefed up Chivalry with modern graphics and controls. I'm eager to get my hands on that. Hopefully I can get into the beta for it. It looks awesome. And now that it's got a single player, hopefully it's a sizable single player, not just like a kind of, just like kind of a little padding thing to add on to the side. Hopefully it's really like meaty and good. I really am psyched for that one. Final Fantasy 15, I'm still psyched for it. Through all the stuff that I've seen for it, through the Square Enix things that have been earlier in the year. Even here, I know the gameplay kind of sucked, but it was still cool to see Titan that big and the guys all hanging around. I'm not psyched for the VR stuff. That kind of looks like a gimmick to me, but hey, if you get it free with Final Fantasy 15, I honestly wouldn't care. But I would never buy it. But yeah, I was kind of psyched for that. Dishonored, We Happy Few was probably my highlight indie of the game, of the entire thing. That looks awesome. I'm playing that as soon as it comes out. I will be streaming it so we can have fun and get freaked out together on all the craziness in that world. That looks so good. I know it's early access, but I am all in on that, man. Dishonored 2 looks amazing. I'm so psyched for that. That will definitely be on the stream. There's so much coming out at the end of the year, guys. I don't know how I'm going to all fit it in, but I will, I promise. We're going to have a look at a lot of stuff. Yeah, so Dishonored 2, it looks so good to me. I love the first one. We're going to be all in on that. Titanfall 2 looks great. I'm thankful for that. I think I'm going to enjoy Titanfall 2 more than I enjoy Battlefield 1. And I'll tell you why when I get to the Battlefield 1 part of this, because Titanfall 2... If it's as good as it looks like in those trailers, I'm gonna be a happy man, and I could see playing this for a bit. So hopefully they've learnt their lessons from the first one, and yeah. Mafia 3. Mafia 3 was shown nowhere in the entire thing, but Mafia 3 looks great to me. I saw their booth there. They put a lot of effort into their booth, man, but they were never shown. They were never shown anywhere. I was so shocked about that. It was like Mafia 3 was all this hype and stuff, but I guess everyone saw the trailers, so they didn't really bother with it. And because PlayStation did such a quick one, and Microsoft had so much stuff, they didn't really want to show Mafia 3. Mafia 3 looks great. But I really like that, and hopefully it's going to be good, because I'm pretty psyched for that. It's just there's so much stuff coming around that time, it may get pushed to the back. And a game that I saw at the PC gaming one, it's called The Surge, and now these are the guys that did Lords of the Fallen. Now, Lords of the Fallen was very clunky, it had a lot of problems. Hopefully they've learned from that. But it was like a futuristic, kind of cyborgy, like laser sword, Dark Souls looking game. It looked awesome. Check it out. It's called The Surge. Just search it on YouTube or on Google, man. Whatever you use. It looks cool as hell. I don't know how far away it's going to be. They never had like a release date or anything. But it looks so good. It looks so good. I am so keen for a different style Dark Souls. You know, something that still has the that real like, you know, it has that difficulty to it, but still in that futuristic type thing, aesthetic. It just looked very cool, and I was super psyched for that. That looked awesome. Recore looked great to me. It had great music, so I loved that trailer. I was like bopping along to it. Such a good song. But Recore looks so good. It looks like a bit of a puzzle platformer mixed in with this bit of a shooter, and then it's got the companions with it. I'm psyched for that game. I'm going to give that a go. I will be streaming it. That comes out on the 13th of September. I think I might still be in the US still then. I might just be coming back. So that might be one of my first streams coming back after I get back from the States. But yeah, that one looks cool. I'm liking the look of that one. Obviously Deus Ex, they didn't show it anywhere in the main conferences, but Square Enix has been putting it everywhere over E3. I've seen a lot of the stuff. It looks awesome. Deus Ex is one of my favorites by far. Human Revolution was one of my favorites of when they came out. I still play it. It looks so good, man. I'm so glad Adam Jensen's not dead. I want to play him. They even had like a robotic arm in one of the things that looked like Adam's hand. It was so cool. I like this. I like Deus Ex. I like the way it's going. How like they even had that live action sort of trailer that they put up a few weeks ago. It looks cool, man. I'm liking this sort of the aesthetic of the theme that's going for, like this whole separation thing. It looks good. I really enjoyed looking at that. Ghost Recon, very excited for that one. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like the Division without the Dark Zone part, and I'm all good on that. It looks like you got a lot of diverse ways to get shit done. A lot of different vehicles. I'll see with that one. I think it looks good. I think it looks fun. Prey looks so good. The small parts we saw of it, I need to see more, but I'm psyched for that game. It looks really cool. It looks like kind of like it'll be my replacement for Dead Space, because I used to play all the Dead Spaces, so I think that might be my new replacement for that. So I'm kind of psyched about that. Scalebound still looks good to me, even though they had a bit of a crappy gameplay side of it. Scalebound looks awesome. It's platinum. I'm sold on that one. I'm all keen for it. So that's going to be next year. Spider-Man from Insomniac. Insomniac does a good job, man. They make good games. So hopefully they make a good Spider-Man game, because I'm keen for a good Spider-Man game. I really am. If they can make a good one with a sort of a kind of like an open world, I guess, maybe a pseudo open world, I'd be all set on that, man. All set. Horizon Zero Dawn looks great. It looks like so much fun. A lot of cool stuff. It kind of sucks it's not going to be on PC. It's just PlayStation. But that looks cool, man. It looks so good. I like the different parts of it, like how you can mount the guys and stuff. It looks good. Mount the guys, mount the robots. Yeah, you can mount the guys in that. Everyone be flocking to it. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare actually looked fun. It looked fun with the jets and stuff and the space battles. It looked more fun to me than Battlefield 1. I never thought I'd say that. It looked more fun to me than Battlefield 1. Fuck, man. I would never say that shit. Battlefield 1's coming up in my disappointment side. I'll tell you all about that part soon. But yeah, Call of Duty actually looked fun. And I'm going to play it. I'll stream that shit. I ain't playing multiplayer, but I'll play the single player. The PlayStation VR, I'm actually really excited for that. I'm excited for the fact that you can use your own PS4. You don't have to buy a new one. You don't have to buy the Neo. I was really kind of concerned about that. I don't mind the price point. Price point is what I expected. The fact that it's got 50 games coming with it. I don't know the quality of those games, but the games that I saw looked very interesting. I don't know if they were like tech pieces or whatever, but hey, I'm just excited to have a VR that's probably more accessible than the Oculus and the Vive. And honestly, I think it's going to drive them to start lowering the prices on them. And hopefully it will make VR affordable for normal people. People that aren't going to be able to, like, for me to go out and get a Vive, that's like $1,000. That's $1,000 for me. You know, like even more. Oculus might be $1,000. It is ridiculous how pricey they are, but hey, it's new technology, so I understand that. Nier Automata. Now that's another Platinum game, and this is kind of a PlayStation, and they didn't show it. I think they showed it last year. They showed like a little bit, but it's like these two sort of twins, and it's kind of anime, and it's a lot of sword combat, and it's got some cool bosses. It's for PlayStation 4. It's not Vita. It looks good, man. It looks fun. It looks cool. I'm all about that shit. So that was just released on the side. I think they did the other like releases later in the on day one, I think. So these were some of the things they showed, and yeah, Nier looks cool. It looks cool. Kind of looks like better like Ghost in the Shell-y kind of, yeah, that sort of thing. That looks cool. And then my last one, Bound. Now Bound looks kind of like Journey, if you didn't know what Journey is, from the last E3, maybe the one before that. But Bound kind of looks like this kind of emotional journey type thing. It's kind of this gymnastics ballerina sort of thing through these like thoughts or something. It looks very cool, very awesome. Check out the trailer. It's hard to explain, but Bound does look very cool, very interesting. Go check it out. I was pleasantly surprised by it. Now, the disappointments. Mass Effect. Big disappointment for me. I was very excited about seeing some solid gameplay, some solid, like, what the world looks like. Just not bits and pieces like they did. It's a good trailer. I'm not saying the trailer's bad. I just think what they showed of it was very disappointing. And like I said in the EA part, I'm excited for the future, but I was disappointed, man. I was disappointed. Same with Star Wars. Star Wars just too much like concept art and not gameplay. It's like, honestly, I'd rather you not even show it. I'd rather you not even show it. I mean, I was psyched to see the that small like 3, 4, 5 second stint where they showed Visceral's Star Wars game with the guy walking out of the cantina and seeing the Star Destroyer in the top. But all it made me is just ask questions. Just ask lots of questions about it. And you just didn't know because there's nothing. And these games aren't coming for like 2 to 3 years. So, yeah, I was just a bit disappointed in that. Watch Dogs 2. Yeah, it was Watch Dogs 2. It looks like they're trying very hard to be kind of cool, laid back type thing. I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't click with me. I'm gonna see. Hopefully it's fun. I might play it, but yeah. Probably one of the down points for the Sony one was Crash Bandicoot. What they're doing with Crash Bandicoot. I kind of wanted a new game. I'm glad they're doing HD remakes of the Crashes. I think people should play them. They're fun. They're like that was my childhood, man, playing Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation 1. But it's a little disappointing to see him in Skylanders, and he looked really bad. I don't like the look of him in Skylanders. He looks a bit like Tasmanian Devil type thing. It just didn't look good. Didn't look good. And then probably a surprise disappointment. I was really hyped about it when they showed it, but as I saw more of it, I got a little more concerned. And that was Battlefield 1. So they showed the trailer at EA, and the trailer looks amazing. It is like so beautiful. DICE and their new engine just knocks everything out of the park. Star Wars Battlefront, you cannot deny that the damn thing looks beautiful. And the sparks when the lasers ping off, it is great. And Battlefield 1 looks the same. It looks beautiful. The graphics, everything, the fidelity, it looks so amazing. And I'm not denying that. But the more I saw of the gameplay side, the more I was watching that 1 hour sort of solid game, which it wasn't. It was like 40 minutes. Because they were like doing more interviews of the celebrities than anything. But the more I saw of that, the more it just looked like a freaking Battlefront reskin. It has the same UI type. It's just the same. It looks the same. And I'm very concerned that it's going to be like Battlefront 1. Battlefront. And if Battlefield 1 does that, I'll be very disappointed. And hopefully I'm wrong, and I'll be glad if I'm wrong. But we didn't see the loadout stuff. We didn't see what you could choose. I'm hoping they're like classes, and they're not like freaking. I want it more like Battlefield 4 than Battlefront. All right, you get what I mean? So hopefully it's just the UI looks the same. But the more I saw of it, it looked like a freaking Battlefront reskinned. So hopefully we'll see more. Hopefully when the game comes out, hopefully I can get into a beta for it. I was a little disappointed about it with it. And then my last one, Quake Champions. I haven't seen enough of it though, but what they're implying, I'm a little concerned about it. I think they're trying to do it to Quake Overwatch or Quake Watch. It just, yeah. Hopefully they're gonna try and be true to what it should be, but yeah. But overall, in conclusion, I think I had a really good E3. I had a solid, very exciting, very cool. It was definitely the E3 of leaks. I mean, my God, I'm one of these people that I don't really want to see the leaks. I don't really want to see the leaked trailers. And I tried to stay away from them till E3 and actually saw them on here. But it seemed like everywhere you turn, I think it was like Microsoft's entire presentation got leaked hours before it was done. And it's like, how? You're these freaking big companies. How can you not do this? How can you stop? You should be able to stop this. But, yeah. And they keep coming out going, oh, yeah, they got leaked. Oh, these this reporter can suck a bag of dicks and all the rest of it. It was just, yeah, hopefully they can solve that part. It was definitely the year of leaks, but it does that every year. But yeah, overall, I think it was a great E3. I think it was fun. I think it was, obviously it wasn't as hyped as that year when all the PlayStation 4s came out and the Xbox Ones, and it was all that hype for that, and everyone was so psyched. I remember that year, man. It was great. But yeah, I'm psyched for. I was very happy with what I got out of E3 this year, and this was the first time I did this sort of stuff. This sort of reaction stuff, doing videos for you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying them. I'm seeing them getting some good views. thank you very much. Thank you for supporting me. I'm very new to this stuff, so forgive me if I'm a little bit PC sometimes. But thank you guys. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed it, hit that sub button. If you liked it, hit the like. The dislikes there too. If you disliked it, that's fine. Also, I am a Twitch streamer, so hit me up at twitch.tv/AverageKiwiGuy07. We stream pretty much every weekday. And yeah, we have a lot of fun on there. Also, hit me up on Twitter at AverageKiwiGuy there as well. You know, hit me up, say hi. I'll say hi back. We're a growing community, so I'm looking for every person I can get. So yes, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys had a good E3, and I know I did. And I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace. Bye.